Everybody, welcome back to Lettermen Row. I am Austin Ward. This is Road Beers, joined by my buddy Jeremy Birmingham, as always. You know him as just Berm or Barm or Burn.
Hi. Bjarm.
I had to throw that in just because our colleague Chives, Spencer Holbrook, will not be joining us this week for episode number 6.
Because he's dead. Because I killed him. Because of all the barn talk.
He's got more important things to do, and because Berm killed him. And now everyone knows that they should come up with creative spelling just to mess with Berm. And I think people have really taken to that idea.
Yeah, I mean, a few people certainly have. I appreciate it. I think that everyone is doing the Lord's work. And I'm definitely not keeping a list of everyone who's doing it with the intention to, provide reparation when we're out of quarantine. No big deal.
Yeah, it's clearly not affecting you, which I think that's the great.
Totally fine with it.
Yeah. What's the best one you've seen?
Oh God! I mean, I like when Chives called me Bjarm, like with a Y in there. I don't know how that happened, but whatever. I mean, it's fine. That doesn't even bother me. I'm not even affected.
Rolls right off your back. You've always been very skilled at handling criticism.
That's what I do. Get a lot of it in my life. I had somebody ask me. I'm going to cut you off. I had somebody ask me the other day, a local person, a friend of the family, a long time, why I'm the whipping boy. And not just for this show, but for like Lettermen Live. And I said, well, I guess because I don't care if I am more than anything. And it got me thinking, like, am I the whipping boy?
I don't get that sense. We talked about that in the first episode of this series. The people that believe that we don't get along for some reason. I mean, maybe I need to reevaluate the way that I treat you. I just thought that we were.
I personally don't care. See, I think that's the thing. Like, as I said in response, like, I know it's not like it's not really spiteful or meant. It's funny, but I guess maybe that's how people see it. Maybe I'm the guy that gets picked on. And I'm fine with that. I'm the 9th of 11 children. I am used to being picked on.
I just want to know what I've done that would make people think that you are my whipping boy. When
I don't know. No, it's not just you though. It was like Schlags, everyone. They think everyone picks on Beyond.
Well, I mean, you're also like the most easygoing and good-natured out of everybody, so I could see why. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't care. Like, you can say whatever you want about me. Like I said, I'm the 9th of 11 children. I'm the 7th of 7 sons. There is nothing that you can say to me that I haven't heard in my life already. I had water that went down the wrong tube.
Yeah, this is great stuff.
Woo.
The first 5 minutes of our last few podcasts have been awesome. Just
I love listening to Howard Stern, as you know from being in the car with me all the time.
Yeah.
And he has, in the last couple of years, like, his radio decorum has completely changed. So, like, if he's in the middle of a conversation and needs to burp, he just, like, burps, like, loudly. And I think about that, and, like, you have to have such a remarkable amount of built-up, like, cachet to pull that off.
Right.
And there's been times where I'm like, oh, God, I just want to, like, burp or something. But then I'm like, I'm not Howard Stern, therefore I cannot do that.
Well, a big part of like what we try to do at Lettermen Row as a whole is to keep it, less polished.
Keep it authentic.
Yeah, I mean, let people make fun of the fact that I wear a backwards hat. I was trying, like, my hair's getting so long, and I knew I needed to wear a hat again this week, but I don't normally wear it front facing, as you know.
Yeah,
that's out of character for me. But so I was just hesitant because of the comment. I tried to go find it for this show because I'm going to wear a backwards hat, and I hope that our favorite commenter from Fiestable, I could never find it. Like it didn't exist on the. I think the comments are gone.
It may have been nuked. I don't know. The point is,
what did he say? That I was like a disco loving.
I don't know. It was something about disco, but it was worth it to read it, and it took me a while to come up with that when I wrote. I mean, Whoever that guy was, it must have taken him a minute or two to come up with a really, really good thing. And I think the funniest thing that I've noticed in recent weeks and months on the social media comments is that when I say dumb stuff like rocket surgery, that people, I don't know if people are really not picking up on the fact that I'm saying that intentionally, like on purpose, or if they think that I really believe that it's rocket surgery is the proper way. Because, I mean, I'm a fairly intelligent person.
Right.
And I do know that it's not actually rocket surgery as the term, folks.
Right.
I just want to be clear. I want to clear that up because I've seen multiple times when I made that reference in videos where people are like, "Bird, it's not rocket surgery." And I'm like, it's not. I know it's not. I know.
Yeah. But it could be. Like, who says you couldn't perform surgery on a rocket?
If you are fixing a rocket, is it not surgery? Is a repair not surgery?
I'm with you.
Like, if you have your knee surgically operated on, couldn't that be that you're repairing your knee? Why does it have to be flesh and bone to be surgery?
I don't know, but I think that that's why these non-football off-topic conversations are, I think, really informative for our audience, because they don't know that you've been saying that for as long as I've known you.
Yeah.
Multiple hours in the car, and a lot of other weird expressions that will surely just come up in the topic of conversation. I think.
Yeah, I want people to know who we really are. I want people to know who we really are at our core. And at our core, Austin, who most people, because he's the straight man on the show, always between Tim May and myself or anyone else, because he's the guy who brings levity. Like, he is not that way IRL. Like, Austin is a music-loving, beer-drinking, sports-loving, I don't know, weirdo, man. Like, we're all weirdos. And I am not always as weird as I come across, but I saw this on a message board this past week after the Tumiche Adeleye Bermanology episode. People said that I love to hear myself talk is what someone commented. And like, I really don't. I just don't know how to say what I'm trying to say until the sentence is completed.
Right.
So, like, starts off as me thinking, okay, this is exactly how this is going to go. And then midway through the sentence, I'm like, oh, shit, I shouldn't have said that. I should have said it this way. So then I'll just say the whole sentence again a different way because I think that way is better.
Yeah.
But I really don't like hearing myself talk or seeing myself.
Do you cover yourself up when we're doing these? You're like,
yeah, I hate this. That's the funny thing, because in the last 2 years on Lettermen Row, we've been on camera so much. Like, I don't like being on camera. You worked at ESPN. You did a lot of stand-ups and stuff like that for them through the years. I like to be behind a camera and not in front of the camera. You see my irritation when people do what I do to other journalists and take random pictures of me. Like, I hate it. I don't like being on camera. I don't like hearing myself talk. But I just am a nervous ball of energy when I'm in these situations. So it comes out as rambling.
Because we've been doing this for a long time.
I know. It's weird, but it's just, it's the way it is.
I was more like, I guess, 6 weeks ago, because I mean, these things, I don't worry about being on camera. I've been doing it now for so long, and host all the other shows. But doing this one where we're actually just going to be talking about random stuff and not football, and not having any sort of plan or script, or just like we're sitting in the car. I was like, as I've said every single week, I'm surprised that people want to watch this. We would have to come up with some way just to have a conversation no matter what, whether we're recording it. But like, I was a little bit hesitant to like do it this way and
Yeah.
just like, because I still don't understand who wants to watch it.
Well, I mean, it doesn't even. Again, I don't care if anyone does, but the people wonder, I guess, like when we're talking about terminologies and stuff like that, like none of that stuff. I don't write out any questions. I don't put an outline together of what I want to talk about. So, like sometimes when they hear it or watch it, it may come across as like I'm navigating, and that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure out where the conversation should go. The one time, and I've done now 82, I think, 82 Bermanologies since we started that with Jack Sawyer last February. And I've pre-written or tried to script out one conversation, and that was with Urban Meyer. And it started, and it was immediately off script, and I never went back to it. So,
well, and I think that, and the reason that I don't do that for any of the shows that we do, and you know, some of the guys want to reach out beforehand, and they say, "What stuff are we going to talk about? What topics are we going to do? I want to prepare." And I get that, but you know, I don't usually know, because the same thing that you're talking about with Urban, if the conversation goes somewhere else or there's an interesting anecdote that you hear, and this happened, I think the most popular one I can think about recently, or the time that it happened, like I did have some semblance of what a off-season show needed to be like before we were kicked out of going anywhere in public, and we were at Roosters, and Justin Zwick, and I was doing the intro. I was like, well, it's the off-season. He's like, no, it's not. There's the XFL on Saturday. I'm like, oh, okay. And then that kicked off like 20 minutes of him talking about, you know, arena ball, and Schleg's played in, you know, the USFL or whatever it was, and these cool stories. And, you know, if they hadn't interjected and had their own conversation, then we never would have talked about it, because I wasn't thinking about there was good conversation about Cardale and that, but it's just not authentic if you're not listening to what the other person is saying and going with it from there. So like listing out a series of questions to me just doesn't work, or trying to script this show. You know, this is way more inside baseball than probably anybody ever hoped they would get on #Road Beers.
You know, I have a lot of friends and family, and you know, Angie and everyone asks me all the time, like when we do radio spots or radio hits, and they're like, do they tell you what you're talking about? I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm like, how do you have all that stuff just ready to talk about? I'm like, I'm just responding to a question as best I can. And I just find that, like, from a authenticity standpoint, that's so much better than feeling like you have to try to fit a square peg into a round hole to fit a you know, preferred plot point on a story or a conversation. I think people would prefer that, but I don't know. I mean, I guess people must like the other way too.
Structure.
Yeah, I just structure's stupid.
But you know, we're not.
Wasn't that a store in the 80s or 90s?
Do they make jeans?
Yeah, I think so.
Structure jeans.
Did you wear silk shirts? Or you're too young for the silk shirt era of the early 90s.
I think that I may have had one or two. But
used jeans and silk shirts?
I'm trying to think. I think I had, like, maybe in 5th or 6th grade. I don't know why I would have needed one to go to the club recess. But I think I had one. I don't know. I can't really remember.
I had like 8 or 9 different silk shirts. I never got like the quad panel one. You know, they only like you'd
Milli
see.
Vanilli?
Yeah, I didn't get any. I always went with the solid colors, something a little understated. I remember having a forest green version, which was crazy. I remember wearing like red jeans or red used pants. Remember those? Used, I think was the brand name.
I don't know that brand.
Oh man, they were fire emoji.
Okay. Red.
Yeah, I mean,
red jeans.
They were red. They were red, like red pants.
Uh-huh.
And they weren't like sweatpants. I mean, they were like red, like red pants.
So, like, what? And you matched those up with a?
I would wear, because back in those days, like
a green shirt, like Christmas.
I mean, only once a year for that particular combination. But no, I would. I was an Atlanta Falcons fan for like 3 years because I love Andre Rison for some reason is my all-time favorite NFL football player. I don't know why. I know, totally random. But because Andre Rison and Deion Sanders were on the Falcons at the same time, I just thought they were awesome. So the red pants did go a lot with like Cincinnati Reds gear, Falcons gear, Buckeyes gear, etc. that I would wear when I was a kid. Yeah, I mean,
that burns the retina right there.
There was a lot of, I guess I would just say, pure sexual energy from me as a red sexual energy, of course, at that time.
Burning.
Yeah, it was pure heat.
It's, you know what? It's crazy. I was thinking about, because I was going to ask you about the MJ doc and the Last Dance and all that going on. And I was thinking about, growing up in the 80s and 90s, and I was going to ask like what jerseys you had. Because I never had it. I was, obviously as someone who was born in 1983 and loved sports and has made it his whole life, I followed and followed MJ, followed the Bulls, loved, and basketball was my first love as a sport to play, not to continue to follow, as we've talked about on this show before. But like, I never had a Bulls Jordan jersey. I did.
I had the black one.
Did you? Okay.
So I had 3 different Jim Jackson jerseys from the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay. Because you were an Ohio State basketball fan?
Well, and because he's from Toledo, and I watched Jimmy, in high school when I was a kid, and then he went to Ohio State, obviously, and then he went to the NBA. So I kind of, before LeBron, where I would follow what team LeBron was on, Jim Jackson's team was kind of the one that I would always gravitate towards. Mm-hmm. I did have a Jordan jersey. I had a Sergei Fedorov Red Wings jersey because Sergei is my favorite hockey player of all time. I had a number of different Bengals jerseys, Kajana Carter, because it was 1994 or 95, and I was a sophomore in high school, and it was still okay to wear jerseys with someone else's name on the back. I had a Carl Pickens jersey. He was awesome. Who else? The most random of all of them is that I had a Scott Frost Nebraska jersey.
What?
It's true. I had or maybe it was Eric Crouch. It was number 7 Nebraska jersey. So it might have been Eric Crouch, but either way, I remember being like 16 years old, and I was at like TJ Maxx or something, and and they had a random ass Nebraska jersey, and I was like, "That is sweet. Let's get it." Because they, at the time they were like competing for national championships and stuff, and like Spencer now, like Chives now, like I was like, "Oh, that's a winning team." I thought at the time I'd be like the guy who would. I thought at the time I'd be like the guy who just collected random jerseys, and then I realized I don't have any interest in that. Yeah. So it was sort of a waste. But I definitely I had an Eric Davis Orioles jersey, mm-hmm. because that black Orioles jersey in the 90s is one of my favorite baseball uniforms of all time.
Right.
And Eric Davis is my favorite all-time baseball player. I think that was it. I wasn't like a huge jersey guy. Normally I would just wear my own because I am about myself and I love to hear myself talk.
Yeah. That was quite a random chive by in there. I think he deserved that hit for his teams. When was the last time that you wore another adult's name on the back of your shirt?
I mean, it's been probably 20 years.
Really?
I mean, I do still have, and it's just, they're in my closet. I wear them once a year, and that's on my fantasy football draft day. Mm-hmm. A Bengals jersey with Birmingham on the back, but it's got my brother's number for my number 7 instead of my favorite number 21. But that's the only time I ever wear it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I've got these back here, and I've got a Ryan Murray hockey jersey up here.
That's different. Those are hanging on the wall.
I know. I collect them still. I love jerseys. Like, I love the fact that Homage made me a de facto work jersey that I can wear right here. Like, I think being part of a team is the coolest thing in the world. and having logos, and I still collect them. I've got more jerseys to hang up that aren't even in my office right now. And I don't, blame anybody who still wants to do it and support their favorite players. That's not what we're going to do. We're not going.
No,
not here to
no,
jersey.
I don't. Not here to jersey shame people.
Yeah, I'm not going to jersey shame anybody, but I just I would rather have. So I shifted to either I put my own name on it, or if I wanted to make one, because I obviously have Crew and Blue Jackets jerseys,
Right.
and I have probably 20 United States national team jerseys, and I would just put random stuff Columbus and on the United States jersey, or American Outlaws stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
I shifted to doing that because I still want to wear jerseys at sporting events. I'm not going to stop.
What it was for me, honestly, it was when I turned old enough that if I wanted a jersey, I had to pay for it. And so what happened was I realized that I was wasting money buying a Bengals jersey on a guy who was not going to be on the team in 2 years.
Right.
So at that point, I decided I'm a Bengals fan. I want to be part of the Hive and, the Bengals team. So that's when I was like, I'll just get my own name on the back of these things instead of someone else's, because those guys aren't going to be there. So why waste that? I mean, it's, $65 at the time, 25 years ago was a lot of money when you're 18 years old and trying to figure out if you're going to buy beer or a jersey.
That's a real thing.
Back then it was a real thing. But no, I definitely, I think I've told people all the time, growing up, if I hadn't have played sports and been on teams, my life would be totally, totally different. I don't think there's anything better in the whole world. Maybe this is because I'm the 9th of 11 kids, but nothing better than being a part of a team. I think it's the coolest experience you can have growing up. And I actually get sad for today's generation of kids who don't play sports nearly as much as we did. So they're missing out on the best parts of growing up. And certainly even just representing that team in public is an awesome experience if you do it right and you're not punching people in parking lots.
Yeah, I think Liberty was digging through in the basement and found this picture from my senior year of high school, and when we won the Wyoming State Golf Championship and beat our rival and found this trophy that we won, and how clearly different I looked. I posted it on Twitter last week in case anybody really wants to see the difference between 2001 and now. Those memories just come flooding back, and I thought, man, it really made me sad because of, forget about what you're saying with kids who aren't part of teams or don't play sports, the ones that are like you and me who are in the middle of their senior year. And, that was really the last time that we achieved at a high level. That was I thought about playing golf in college and ultimately decided to start, working instead, and whatever, that all worked out. But, those kids this was going to be their senior year in the spring, and whether they were going to be playing soccer, golf, track, whatever it is. And now that's gone. That would be so painful. It hurts me just to think about what they're missing out on. Cause that was, it wasn't the best time of my life, because now I've got a wonderful family and career and the perspective that comes. But up to that point in your life, it didn't get any better. And I'll never forget winning the state championship and how hard we worked and everything we did.
Oh, you went there. You had to go there. I'm
not saying that you had to rehash your coming up short. I think we've already done that on this show, but
it's one of the more painful moments of my entire existence. And maybe that speaks to how spoiled and fortunate I've been throughout the years. But the reality is, losing those days and that opportunity would have been just heartbreaking. And it sucks really, really bad for the kids who are out there that this is the end of their road. And, there's so many, obviously, we talk about a guy like Ty Hamilton going to Ohio State next year or whatever. If he was playing spring sports, yeah, it sucks that he loses them, but like he's still going to Ohio State to play football.
Yeah.
When you are talking about kids who are done, and that's the final memory, like that would be heartbreaking to have to deal with.
So what if your senior year, COVID-19 had wiped out that season and you didn't have that loss? Like which one of those things do you think would hurt worse?
Could it just wipe out the bottom of the 7th inning in the state championship game instead? I mean, that would be the preferable outcome. But no, I mean,
I don't think it worked that way.
No? Okay, fine. They couldn't just start in the middle of it and be like, oh, wait a second, we have a problem. Spartans win. No, it was, that moment, it's a defining moment of my life. So I certainly wouldn't want it erased just to lose the heartache. The scars remind us that the past is real, Austin.
But you just if we haven't talked about this before, you weren't on the mound causing that to happen, right?
No. I was done for the day. The state of Ohio, as most states do, have a dumb 10 innings in 72 hours rule, which I guess is supposed to save your
dumb safety.
And I had, unfortunately, we had gone into extra innings in the state semifinal, and I came in that game in the 5th inning to close that one out. We went into extra, so I used 5 innings in the state semi, and then I had to choose essentially to start the championship game or come in the 3rd inning, and I wanted to get us a lead, so I started and left the game after 5 innings with a 7-3 lead against the number 2 team in the country.
Right. You guys were number 1, right?
No, we were number 17 in the country. We were number 1 in the state, but it was, because state people are obviously looking at things different. But that game, I started that game against Aaron Cook, who ended up being drafted by the Rockies and was an all-star with the Red Sox a handful of years ago.
What a duel. What a duel.
Yeah, we beat the crap out of Aaron Cook that day. Now, I mean, if we're going to go in the Wayback Machine, our lineup, we had 7 guys that were first team all district on our team. So we were a very good team. But we beat the crap out of anybody who just threw a fastball. We had a bunch of mashers on our team. Not we, I didn't. I had 3 at-bats in 4 years of high school. But we had a group of kids that just could straight up mash a fastball, and they did that day.
Yeah, boy, I'm sure that was very fun for you. I won't make you continue to relive it. I was, after all, started this conversation by talking about what jerseys we owned.
No, but you know what I think? I was watching that Jordan thing the other night too, and I was thinking from a different. This is where I thought you were going to go with this, but how crazy awesome it is for people like our generation that got to grow up watching Wayne Gretzky and Barry Sanders and Michael Jordan and Joe Montana. We've seen Mario Lemieux, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. We've been pretty fortunate to see the standard of all time in all of these sports. And I don't know, is it your own nostalgia, or I'm sure maybe kids who are growing up today think Mike Trout is the best baseball player of all time. I don't know. Do they? He's good, right?
So
he's pretty good from what I understand. I've never really watched. I know he's good, but I've never really watched him. So I just wonder.
A baseball game in years, so I couldn't tell you.
How do today's people view their athletes?
Well,
will those guys stand up against historical?
You obviously see that all the time with the LeBron and MJ debate. I don't know how they do that with baseball. I think baseball is generally easier to compare across eras. Where my biggest problem with the debate about Jordan and LeBron is that the athlete, the modern athlete, for football and basketball, and it's true for Mike Trout in baseball, I'm sure. But as the sports have evolved, as the training has evolved, the nutrition, the knowledge of the game, even just it seems human evolution when we're talking about LeBron and being 6'8", 260 and doing the things that he can do. Those people just didn't exist in that game in the 90s. So who is the best basketball player of all time? Right now, it's LeBron James. And that might change in 20 years because there might be a 7-footer who's 280 pounds and can do the things that LeBron did. That's the way it works. If you take these people out of different eras, like MJ, and it's great to get this appreciation again, and people that didn't grow up with it or follow it and see what he was doing. My acknowledgement of his greatness hasn't changed at all. I mean, I lived through it, and you knew you were watching something special. But at 6'6", and even once Jordan, I think they're going to be talking about it with the Pistons and the Bad Boys series where he started lifting weights, which he'd never done before. Like a 17-year-old LeBron was probably going to be able to physically manhandle even a 23,
25, 26-year-old Jordan. Yeah.
Like that's just the way that it works. Like that team would have had to have, probably Scottie Pippen guard LeBron, and look at his frame compared to the two. They're just LeBron is.
Yeah, I look at it like who would have won a one-on-one game between those two guys, and I think LeBron wins a one-on-one game with Jordan 9 times out of 10, just based on pure size and athleticism. I look at it like obviously Jordan has the accolades, all the championships, all that stuff, but like he also had a top 50 player in the history of the NBA playing with him for the entire time. And really good teams around him. But he also played in an era where there weren't super teams, and his was kind of a super team. But so were the Celtics and Lakers in the 80s, I guess. I mean, they all had similar stretches. But I just – my eyes tell me what LeBron James is a different level than what Michael Jordan was. And that's not a knock on Jordan's greatness. Like, he's incredibly great. One of the top athletes, competitors I've ever watched. But if you're talking like pure physicality, like I don't think he could have competed with LeBron James in a 7-game series. Like I just don't think so.
Yeah, and I mean,
he would have competed.
My feeling on this has come to this point where I feel really comfortable about it, and it's not trying to hedge any bet or straddle a fence. It's if you want to talk about who the most impactful player of all time is, who stood out more above their generation, that's a sort of different argument. I think MJ's case there as the most influential basketball player of all time is rock solid, and there is no real way for LeBron to chip away at that. But yeah, I only ever bristle when people say, well, who's the best basketball player of all time? Who's the best football player of all time? The guys that are playing now are the best. They just are. Yeah. They have every advantage for that. And these guys, every one of them, they're building and then standing on the shoulders of the greats that came before them. Like, maybe LeBron doesn't exist in this fashion if Michael Jordan hadn't, elevated the game and set the example and taught people how to take the next step. Like maybe that doesn't happen. Maybe Kobe doesn't go in that way. Maybe Kobe plays soccer. Whatever. Right.
Maybe LeBron played football. I mean, it's a totally different world, and I just think that it's just this desire people have to argue about dumb shit. Like, does it really matter who's the best basketball player of all time? No, like they're all really damn good, and they're all better than me. Like they all do things that people at a normal level can't do. Like who cares it's such a weird like thing to get heated about. Like what does it matter?
Yeah, but it's also human nature to debate and want to argue and be right and read lists and that's
weird tribalism.
That's why we have
all here too.
Well, like if people didn't disagree even about play calls for Urban Meyer and giving the ball to Zeke in 2015 and like debating about
or total side in 2013.
Like, what would be the fun if we weren't arguing? We wouldn't even have a job.
I get that. I'm saying that there are times when you see the fervor with which people argue this is maybe going a touch too far. Like it's fine to suggest like, hey, LeBron's 6'8", 275 pounds and runs a 4.5 and has a 45-inch vertical. He's probably a better basketball player than Michael Jordan,
right?
Who was 6'5", 210 pounds when he came into the league. Like, it's fair to suggest that. It's fair to say Michael Jordan is a elite competitor who took people to a different level around him. It's fair to say Jordan has 6 titles. LeBron's lost 6 titles. Who cares? Like they're great. They're both great. They're historically great. But you want to talk about great? Like, think about how hard golf is for the average person. Like, I can go out and shoot a 3-pointer. I can go out and make 35% of 3-point shots, right? Like, obviously it's different doing it on a worldwide stage with tens of thousands of people watching it. But think about like golf. Like, that's hard. The people who play golf are like the greatest separation between the average person and the elite, in my mind. You know, like that is something that you just can't do.
Well, I think that's it's fun to think about that, because I remember like when I was practicing every day and going back to like, if we're gonna relive these memories, like when I was at the best I've ever been, you know, and we won that championship, there was still light years between me and the average pro golfer, let alone Tiger. I mean,
right.
And that's like, it's crazy to think about how I was like Tiger Woods compared to somebody just starting to play golf, or, you know, a 20.
Right, because you can hit the ball every single time.
Yeah.
You know, like
it's crazy to think about that part of it.
Right, people who've never played golf, they're like, how the hell do you even hit the ball every time? How do you put it on that little face? Like, I mean, I don't know why they talk with that accent, but it's just like, let's just acknowledge greatness wherever it is and be happy about it. Like, that's all. Right. That's all. It's not like there's a bunch of, and that's the weird, like, I get it if people are like, oh no, man, the Bulls were great. No, it's the Cavs. But it's individual players. Like they're doing it all by themselves.
Well, and Magic Johnson even said that in the first through second episode on Sunday night. It was like, we knew how great he was, and once he got some help, we were going to be in trouble. Like, almost nobody has ever put it in those terms, and I'm glad that it was another one of the greatest players in basketball history that, you know, it was – I think people maybe have just glossed over that part of it. Like, he was already that good, just the same way that LeBron was those first 5, 6 years, 7, 8 years he was drafted in Cleveland. But you cannot win a basketball game by yourself. That Jordan was obviously blessed with Pippen, and for all these faults.
Think about those 2 games they showed against Boston in the '86 playoffs. The dude goes out for 49 and 63 and loses both games. Like, what does that matter? And, you know, you see Bobby Knight, one of the greatest coaches in history, saying he's the best basketball player I've ever seen before he ever played an NBA basketball game.
Yeah.
Like, that stuff is really unique. But would Bobby Knight have said the same thing about LeBron James 20 years later? I'm pretty sure he did. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, he was already on the SI cover as the chosen one. I think people had, and that happened very early for him. But that was a great. I'm looking forward to watching more of that every Sunday night, and it's taking the place, I guess, a little bit.
Do you think that Jordan came across as kind of a dick? Like, how much do you have to attack? How much do you have to attack Jerry Krause? How much you got to attack the guy? Yeah, he's short. We get it. Like, why?
You mean us, like old Jordan? Did I think he came across as a dick?
No. Young Jordan to Jerry Krause, especially.
I get. All right, I got it back. I was thinking, like, 96 Jordan. Is that what you're? That's what you're asking?
Yeah, like, it's kind of like. I get it.
think
You don't
that,
like the
like,
guy, but you don't got to keep calling him short. It's kind of rude.
yeah, but anybody who has even, remotely followed Jordan, grew up around it, know that he wasn't the Space Jam character. Like the most famous part of his legacy was, being a dick to teammates and punching them in the face and demanding that they play on his level. Like none of that stuff was like behind the scenes. Everybody knew that when it was going on. I would have been shocked if it didn't happen to Jerry Krause, especially given what was happening and not even being able to play out the string after that last dance. Like that, no, that didn't strike me as anything. Maybe, I mean, I guess he probably was a prick to be on the same team with, but that didn't like surprise me or change anything about the way I view him. What I was most intrigued by on Sunday night was how orange his eyes were, and it was like the scotch or whatever he was drinking was like soaking into his face. And I've never really seen a documentary like this where you've got the primary subject and people have been wanting to hear from this guy, forever. He doesn't grant many interviews, and then the way that they get it done is letting him sit there with this much brown liquor next to him, the longest cigar that you could possibly roll up, and it just looks like something's not right. He sounds fine, but
that's happened for a while. What's been going on? That's been happening for a while, though.
I think that he's I don't know. Like he's probably been drinking at such a prolific rate, like way past what I could hope to achieve.
You need only believe if you wish to achieve.
But he's probably been doing that for so long. Like, I don't want to speculate on it, but the stories about the gambling and drinking with him, forever. That's been part of it. So if that just continued, and then you're able to, you have $1 billion, you've got nothing else to do with your time when you're no longer competing on the basketball court. All you're doing is golfing and drinking and gambling. Is that what happens to your eyes? They turn orange?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to assume that there's some sort of medical condition that I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
But to me, there was definitely the most interesting subplot of episodes 1 and 2 was watching that beverage keep changing, because I wonder. I mean, if you look in the beginning of the show, it was like a quarter of a glass.
Yeah.
And later it was a 3/4 of a glass. And I don't know if that's just because the editing worked out that way. If he started with the full glass and then they move video parts around, or if he was like, just, another one. Yeah. Bring it. I want all the bacon and eggs you have.
I don't think you understood me.
So I don't know. I mean, I was definitely wondering because the whole crying Jordan meme, like, I guess has brought this attention to his eyeballs in the last 10 years, but
right.
They've always sort of had that tinge to them. And I don't know, I'm not a doctor. But it looks like some sort of medical thing, but I hope it's just the alcohol. I guess.
Well, I mean, if that's what's going to happen to my eyes if I keep drinking so many road beers, I am a little concerned.
I think you have to drink whiskey to get it to do that.
Good. Okay, I should be safe then. So we've got that to look forward to. More episodes on Sunday night, sort of replacing the thing that we've bemoaned every single week that we don't have live sports.
Did you watch Ozark?
No, because as I told you last week, once Community was back on there for me to watch again on Netflix, I immediately had to do that again, even though I had been watching it on Hulu previously.
Right.
It's just because I've got to bump the ratings, and I want to do everything I can to make sure that there's a movie, which the Russo brothers are now teasing they might be able to get back and do because of the support on Netflix. So I'm just doing my part for arguably my favorite show of all time. You're
a real American hero.
Ask not what you can do. I don't know how that actually goes.
For your community.
Way ahead of myself.
But ask not what your community can do for you, but what you can do for your community. That's the way it goes, I think. I mean, except
nailed it. Of course. I'm gonna have to write that down. So I didn't, but also had Monday night with one of the great season finales of all time with Better Call Saul. I don't know where you are.
I'm very far behind in that series. I'm in season 2.
Oh no.
Yeah.
All right then. Scratch that off the old script. Won't be doing that. I didn't have.
I hear it's very good. It is a good show that people like. I recommend Better Call Saul.
That's very authentic right there.
Yes, that
Okay.
was not scripted.
So we can be done with our TV conversation for this week, except for whatever is going to happen um, when this episode publishes and this podcast goes live. Whenever you see it, the draft may have already begun.
Saul is one of the best characters on the television. He is a person who you have seen before on the Breaking Bad.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm glad that we sent that script over for you.
Thank you.
Ham sandwich. NFL draft. We have some sort of sports to talk about tonight.
Oh, good Lord.
Where
so happy.
We made some predictions about what's going to happen to some of the Buckeyes. And we actually talked a little bit about this last week with getting to know Chase Young. But for you, when you get to know these kids, Jordan Fuller comes to mind immediately. You don't develop the same relationship with them as every other player. That's how human relationships work. Some are better, closer than others. Who are you going to feel the best for, whether that's Thursday night, Friday, or Saturday when their name calls?
I think it's probably between Okudah and Dobbins, just because they've both been through so much in their lives already. I was actually thinking about this yesterday. I sent Jeff congratulations ahead of the draft, just because I don't want to be one of those thousands of people texting him tonight. But I remember, gosh, it was January of 2017 already, and it feels like it was yesterday, but it's like being on the field with him in San Antonio the day before he committed. And myself and Mark Givler, he gave us some quotes and stuff for the story to run whenever the commitment happened. And like, I can't believe it was only 3 years ago and that he's already gone and through Ohio State. Like, it's wild. But for Jeff, and with his mom passing away when she did, right a week before he got on campus. So, we were talking to him there in San Antonio, getting those quotes for him to commit to Ohio State. He was enrolling at Ohio State 2 days later, and like, his mom is dying, and he's just, plodding away and doing his thing, and he's never been a different guy. So I think between him and JK, with what he's dealt with the broken ankle and the first play of his senior year of high school, the way his father, and I just think that those two are the guys I'm really rooting for the most. Being an Ohioan and watching Joe Burrow play in high school, definitely very excited for Joe. Like, as a Bengals fan, I've taken a lot of heat on Twitter because I've said I don't want them to draft Joe Burrow, but it's nothing against Joe. I just think the Bengals have bigger needs than quarterback. But that's an incredible story. Like, regardless of whether or not his road to the Heisman has been somewhat, sensationalized, I guess. People acting like he'd never
very much
before, picked up on football or whatever until his senior year of college. But Joe's story coming from Athens and being a player that, I watched him play the best high school football game I've ever seen against Central Catholic in the state championship game in 2014. And to know what he had to go through to get to LSU and to win the Heisman and all that stuff, and now to be like the number one pick in the draft is unbelievable. But it's just a lot of really great guys. I'm really hoping that Austin Mack gets a call. Obviously he's probably going to be a day 3 guy, if that, but like, that's a kid who is going to make plays in the NFL because he's just a solid dude. And as you mentioned, Jordan Fuller is an incredible human being, like, just exactly the type of person you want representing you and your program. And those kids they're difference makers, and they all have busted their balls for years to get to this spot. So I get a little emotional because I do get to know them pretty well, and it's just great to see this moment for them.
Yeah. I'm going to be so happy for Damon Arnett when I think it might happen in round 1. If you're not hearing this until Friday, don't hate me if I'm wrong. I think that there's just a good shot for him, and if he doesn't go on Thursday night, then somebody's getting an incredible value in a lockdown cornerback whenever he does come off the board. Like, it's crazy how much criticism he took, and sometimes this happens where these guys don't need my help, but it didn't. The criticism of him never made sense to me. It's fair to like talk about it. If a guy's not playing well, we'll admit it, but it didn't. To me, it didn't match up with what was happening on the field, and it's they work very, very hard, and I think a lot of times they should be shielded from that when they are still so young. I know that it's also part of it to be honest about what we're seeing, but I just Damon Arnett in 2018, I didn't see any of the struggles that were different than what was happening with Kendall Sheffield or even Jeff Okudah at that point, and it was a coaching problem and not a talent problem. There was something that he had shown before, and he was showing in flashes. It was up and down in that Big Ten title game in 2018. He was making big plays. He never stopped competing. And he was giving everything he had to Ohio State and getting a lot of unnecessary flack back that I just had a soft spot for him. And when I thought, when he was out the door, it was after the Rose Bowl, and he was going to go straight to Dallas and not come back for his senior year. I was like, man, if you go, like, I wish you well. Like, I think that, you could do something really special. But it's been fun to covering you and talking to you and getting to know you. But he listened to these people in his life that were like, you're not done. And a lot of people could shut that out. He was open to it. I could come back and be better. It's not me. That covers. I'm not talking about myself there. I'm talking about people that actually matter. That were Jeff Hafley and Chris Carter and others. But it's so cool when these guys are actually open to that and process it and realize that they are not finished products yet. And what he did with a broken wrist all of last year, didn't give up a touchdown all year, had the pick six. He scored more touchdowns than he gave up. It was a wild stat considering how much people, I'll never forget the messages that I just get when I was writing about Damon Arnett. That was like, why it's a big deal for him to come back to school. And they're like, he's the sixth best corner on the roster. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Damon took such a beating for no reason.
Yeah,
it was so brutal.
To be a first or second round pick, or
even if he's a third round pick, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's the thing of this whole draft. Like, it could be 7 rounds, and I don't care if Benjamin Victor goes in round 7 or gets picked up tomorrow, Monday as an undrafted free agent. Like, we're talking about those high school seniors that lose their, final season because of the coronavirus stuff. But like, these kids have worked for years, like more than people could ever truly appreciate or understand, and put themselves in a position where they're in great physical pain for years at a time to get this opportunity. And, it sucks that they lost some of this process. I think, especially for guys like Austin Mack.
Brandon Bowen. I mean, Mack at least he got to go to the combine. All the receivers did. I didn't mean to jump in, but like,
no, you're good.
Brandon Bowen got absolutely screwed during this process. Jay-Sean Cornell, I would include in that as well.
Yeah.
But with Bowen, I cannot for the life of me understand how the starting right tackle for the best offense in the country didn't get invited to the combine.
Yeah, especially when he's 6'8" and 300 pounds and can play inside or outside, play both tackle positions, play guard. It's pretty puzzling. But a guy like him, I mean, he lost a very important month and a half in this process. And so you just kind of hope that he gets an opportunity that, like Demetrius Knox, I mean, I know, again, is a guy people kind of like to pick on when he was at Ohio State, but Demetrius Knox went out and signed an undrafted free agent deal with the Seahawks and was in position to start for them as a rookie before he hurt his leg again. Jamarco Jones is a 4th-round pick. He started, played a lot of games for Seattle. These kids, what Ohio State's done is really prepared them for life in the NFL in a way that no one else does. And I think teams end up seeing that. So it sucks that Bowen and Jay Sean lose that opportunity, because they shine the most in in-person interaction. And when you get to, you can Zoom with people, and sure, I'm sure that Brandon has talked to a number of teams this way, but you don't really appreciate how freaking big Brandon Bowen is until you're standing next to Brandon Bowen, right? Like he's a massive human being.
Yeah.
And I think that just that eye test, you lose that. And so, you just hope that they get a call that gives them the best opportunity, especially for Brandon with the baby. And it's definitely, it's awesome to see these moments come true for these kids. And, you just hope that they all get a chance to do it.
Yeah, so we'll be obviously watching that tonight, tomorrow, Saturday. Get some home beers, see Chase Young come off the board, Jeff Okudah, J.K. Dobbins, Jonah Jackson, Brandon Bowen, K.J. Hill, Austin Mack, Benjamin Victor, Jeff Okudah, Damon Arnett, Jordan Fuller, Malik Harrison, Devon Hamilton, Jay Sean Cornell, Robert Landers, and Rashad Berry. Man, that's a big draft class. Maybe a few of them won't actually get their name called, but all those guys will be signed to a team pretty soon. Yeah. You can bank on that. It's been I think it's worth mentioning those guys and giving them a little shout out beforehand, because it was a pleasure to cover them. They've got 3 Big Ten titles that they're taking with them, following them on their journey as they leave Ohio State, and we're no longer going to see them all that much unless they pop on for some virtual Buckeye Qs, which we'll try and do with them. We wish them all the best of luck. Berm, what will you be drinking during the draft?
It's called Wheezin IPA, I believe. Wheezin,
okay.
Wheezy. It's Wheezin Juice by Armory Brewing up there in Michigan. It's the same brewery that does the white chocolate ale that I love so much.
Yeah.
And they are quickly establishing themselves as one of my go-tos for whatever they produce, whatever I can find in the local liquor cabinet by them. So shout out to Armory Brewing and Wheezin Juice, because it's really good.
I know you were hoping to be drinking Land Grant, and our good friend who watches the show, James, he's actually sending you all their new stuff. I don't know why he's just driving it over to my house. Why?
Because it would not get to me, number one, because I'm the whipping boy, and you would think it's fine to bully me and take my beer. But it's not fine.
I just don't want it to go bad crossing the state lines.
It's not going to go bad. It won't have time.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get some Land Grant for sure. It's Thursday. I've got to stock up, go branch out. SIP is going to be open, so I need to make sure to keep them in business. I've got to pick up that. Brewdog also I tested out their delivery yesterday. They had a new trying to think what it was called. It was a collaboration with Evil Twin, and it was a nitro coffee stout.
Breakfast.
Yeah, it was a great way to end the night.
Start your day.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. That's Roaster Coaster, and I also had the Blueberry Pulp Patriot. I don't have the picture up. It was their new one. It's their.
Don't get me started on blueberry. I'm missing my blueberry crush from Petoskey.
So this Pulp Patriot, they've done several different variations of it with different flavors, and I think the first one was raspberry. And Allie and I had it when we stayed at the Brewdog Hotel last year for our getaway. So it's their the Pulp Patriot is their milkshake, Imperial IPA. It's great. So then they start adding these new flavors. The blueberry one is by far the best that I've had. And I thought about you last night because I know that any sort of blueberry beer is going to get your attention.
Love them.
I don't know if it'll last until you're allowed to come travel down here, but I'll try and order some more and maybe keep some in reserve for you, because it is absolutely phenomenal.
It's a good idea. It's a very good idea.
Yeah. All right. I'll do the best that I can. I can't make any promises, just like, I couldn't watch your land grant beer if James dropped it off over here.
Yeah, impossible.
This has been Road Beers. We're going to get ready to drink some home beers and watch the draft. We appreciate anyone who made it this far, who's watched 6 episodes, or this was the first one and you still got to this point.
You're all sick. You're all sick. You're sickos. But we appreciate it.
We appreciate you very much, and following along with everything we do at Lettermen Row. We appreciate you all. Thanks for hanging out with me and Birm again. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe below to get the latest videos from Lettermen Row.
We got Letterman Live, we've got the practice report, we got rapid reaction. Hey, and we got Buckeye Q with Zach Bourne.
For sure. We got recruiting breakdowns with Birm. We got whatever you need. Ohio State football and Ohio State athletics, we've got you covered here at Lettermen Row.